Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to A Reseller's Journey. Here is your host, ebayjoey.
Welcome to A Reseller's Journey Season 3. I am your host, ebayjoey. Today's guest is killing it in the reselling game. You can see his journey via Instagram. He is known for his cleat hauls and firearms. In addition, he has over 1,250 followers on IG. Representing the Central Valley, he goes by the name The Don Hustle, but his friends call him Antonio Dog. Welcome and thank you for being on the show.
What's up, man? How we doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. Just living through the coronavirus, man. Just like everybody else.
Yeah, we'll definitely touch on that during the podcast. I think it's interesting time for resellers, man.
Yeah, it is, dude. Like, especially what is it? It's like 5 weeks into the whole quarantine thing, 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah,
So
depending where you're located.
yeah, so you could definitely see that everybody's quiet on Instagram now.
Well, I mean, people are sourcing online, which is
Yeah.
interesting. I think some cities, it seems like the thrift stores are open. The people that I do follow, you see like they're still being able to buy some stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yeah,
everything's online.
I've gotten a few things here and there online, just not as frequent as everybody else. I'm not really too focused on it, but it really depends on like your outlets. I've been actually trying to buy off of people at bulk because I know
Hmm.
people are struggling. So if they want to buy off, if they want to sell their shit for a wholesale price of like 15% or 10% above cost of what they paid, that'd be taken off as long as it's worth it. But I mean, that's what I'm doing. I don't know about everybody else, but it seems like some people are being having pretty good success from what I could see.
Yeah, have you had any success with buying people out? I think you
Uh,
posted that the other day, right?
Yeah, I posted it twice. Posted it yesterday, and I posted it like 2 3 weeks. Actually, when it first started, I had one person interested in doing it, but just the numbers weren't right, and it kind of fell through. I've had, like I said, a little bit of a success online arbitraging, but not as much as I'd like to. But I'm not really too focused on that right now.
Yeah, I don't think people really are panicking yet. I mean, as far as like resellers, it seems like, you know, everybody's having success, I think, at the moment. I think, their sales are slow for some people. However, for others, sales are really good. So, depending on the position and the business model that these resellers are going through, they'll determine a sell off. But I don't think people are panicking yet.
Yeah, I'm not really at that point either. The style that I'm going for right now is kind of just like a slightly conservative, but yeah, I'm still trying to sell. I guess you could say it's fair to say that my sales have cut in half, but I'm not really, like I said, not worried about that at all. I've actually, if anything, have went up on my prices. I don't know if you know, but StockX actually is raising their prices right now for, I believe it's their seller fee. It's like went from $5 to $7 or something like
Yeah,
that.
not
So
much.
yeah, $2, but I mean, I'm still adjusting everything just so I can make sure that I can make the right amount of money back, if not
Hmm.
more. But I'm playing the patient game still. I mean, regardless of anything that's going on, I've always played the patient game. So hopefully this will pay off.
Yeah, man, we'll get into that. We'll ask you how you're adjusting to the coronavirus, but um, how did you come up with your name, the Don Hustle?
Yeah. So the way that I came up with it was probably about 6 7 years ago. I watched this movie. It was called The Don John. It was basically about this dude, this hustler guy, that could basically get any girl that he wanted. Like he was the shit. But what the Don means is like the shit, the motherfucking daddy. Like that's what it means. It's slang term, obviously, and so it just came to
Right.
my head, and I saw like Hustler Hacks and a few other people, Hustle B, and I was like, the Don Hustle, and so I just
Right.
fucking went with it, and the rest is history at that point.
Yeah, how long have you had this name?
Since mid 2017, so 2.5 years now.
So 2.5 years official, the
Yeah,
Don
fair to
Hustle.
say.
Nice, man. So
Or
we're
almost 3 years. Fuck, it's
almost.
almost been 3 years. Oh shit.
Hey, come on, bro. You're a numbers guy, man. You need to know this stuff right
Yeah.
away. So where are you based out of, man?
I'm in Central California. That's pretty much all I'm going to say. Some people do know where I live,
Yeah.
but I try to keep it really minimal because a lot of people try to scope my shit and see exactly what I'm doing. But
Yeah,
that's as brief as I'll keep it.
I know where you live, man. I won't say nothing. Actually, I had the honor to meet you, man. We
Yeah,
met
I
in person.
know.
We actually hit a couple stores together.
That's a fucking treat.
No, that's cool, man. But I think that was like the process of you coming on the show was just kind of like, hey, I live in the Central Valley, you're in the Central Valley, and for me, I think it's important to network and link up with other resellers. I think there could be opportunities you can learn from each other. for some people, but it's just good to know, man, like who's in your area. And it was kind of
Oh,
cool because
definitely.
I remember I went into a store, it was a Ross, and I didn't know this until I finally met you, but when I parked my car, you were parked next to me. This is when you had your other car before you bought your new car, and I'm in the store, and I'm like, man, this guy's walking fast. I go, this guy, he just went through the whole shoes. I go, what do I do, man? Like this, I could tell this guy's a reseller, but you are fast, bro. Like when you start in the men's shoes, you just boom, take off. Is that just
Yeah.
something that you kind of adopted along the way?
Well, I typically have a timetable, so whenever I'm not working or really fucking busy, I just go quick. I got an hour to work, so it takes me about 8 to 8 minutes to get to my first store, and I just bounce store to store to store. I zoom through as fast as I can. Um, Typically, depending on what I'm finding, if the finds are consistent at one store, I'll take more of it to my time because obviously I have to do the research. But if I know what something's going for, or if I have no experience with an item, then that's when I'll just zoom through as fast as I possibly can. But yeah, I'm out of that store within like 10 minutes tops.
Yeah.
I think personally, everybody should develop a route. I mean, if you're the type of person that, wants to go in and out like myself, then a route's the most essential thing. But if you have the time to do it, then, by all means, take your time.
Yeah, I like to start in the men's shoes, uh, and then I just start from like the front of the store and then work my way to the back of the store, and then I go through the kids section, and then
Hmm.
the women's, it's hit and miss, man. But sometimes I do walk it, and sometimes I don't. But that's kind of my map in the store.
I've noticed that there's a lot of trends with like layouts in stores. They're typically pretty consistent.
Hmm.
So it's always for me, it's always men's shoes, then like the men's accessories where you find the hats and all the socks and gloves and
Hmm.
things like that. From there, I'll go through like the spring stuff to hopefully find some tents, and go to youth, and then shoes, women's shoes, and then men's accessories or like clothing, or like Under Armour t-shirts and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, man, I
That's
think
my
it's
route.
important. Yeah, I think that's a good pro tip, man. You want to develop a route. And when I worked for Lowe's and Home Depot, they would say it's a left-hand store or a right-hand store. And so when you walk into a store, like a hardware store, a certain department will be on the left side, like lumber, or lumber can be on the right side. And that kind of dictates the flow of the store. So I think that's a great pro tip, man. Get to know the Rosses, the Burlington, the Marshalls, and the layouts, and then just develop a route, like you said.
Oh, definitely.
So were you born and raised in the Central Valley?
Yeah, man. I was born and raised in the Central Valley. I was about to tell you where.
Nah, don't say it. We'll beep it out. But do you feel like that's helped you developing a route with all these stores that you source at?
Honestly, no. I mean, I don't go to as many stores as you think. I mean, in general, I go to two, three, four, five, like tops 5, 6 stores, and that's it.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't go up and down California. I don't do any of that. I've tried that, and I kind of failed miserably, especially when I first started. When I first started, it was 2017. I was new to it. I went to, I believe it was LA, and I was like, man, I'm gonna kill it. I'm gonna hit every single Burlington Ross. I
Right.
hit like 25, 30 stores and found like crimes and that. So at that point, I knew that reselling was something. There was something going on in LA that I didn't know about, and so, but yeah, I mean, typically, it really didn't have any type of me being born and raised here had no value to me actually developing my reselling and where I go and what I do and how I conduct myself.
Yeah. So you said you hit like 25 to 30 stores in LA, the LA
Yeah.
market, and you
Hmm.
came up with nothing.
Like I remember it was like a jacket that actually there was no listings. I got
Mhm.
lucky and somehow that shit sold. But I mean, other than
Yeah.
that, nothing, man.
Have you explored like different parts besides LA, like trying to source? I think
Um,
last time we talked, you said you went to Vegas and sourced a little bit.
yeah. So I've went to before I get to the Vegas part. I've been to like Northern California, Southern California, the Central Coast. I've had a lot of success in the Central Coast, believe it or not. That one spot, the one Nike in Pismo Beach. I don't know if you've ever been
Hmm.
there, but they have that Nike there, and actually that was my biggest success with Nike there. To be honest with you, but yeah. So then last year, I had it was like a birthday trip for me, my brother, and my wife, and his girlfriend at the time. Well, never mind, doesn't matter. Anyways, so we went to Vegas, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a trip out of this. I'm gonna go hit up the
Yeah.
stores. So I hit up the whole strip, Ross stores, I believe there's the city of Henderson has a few Nikes there.
Mhm.
I did that, and I was actually pretty successful. Surprisingly, I thought there was going to be more people there. Were going to really bring me some more competition, and I know that there is a couple of people that live there that do it. But I never really ran into anything. I still had some decent success.
Yeah, there's when I went to the eBay Open, man, there was a lot of local resellers, and it's pretty saturated. But I think for some reason
Yeah.
it's a big metropolitan city, and the people do very well there. It's not like
Hmm.
people don't like reselling, but it's interesting, man. I even went to that store on the strip. It was like a two-story
The
Ross. You got to take
Ross.
like a
Yeah.
yeah, you got to take an escalator, and there was like an LP on every floor, every
Yeah.
department. It was a trip, man.
I I found some triple black size 13 Vapor Maxes in the women's department at that store,
Yeah.
and I sold them for like $250, and they're like $50. That was a big flip for me. Quick
Hey,
money.
that's it, man. Triple black. So, are you doing this part time or full time, Don Hustle?
Just part time, man. I mean, I could take it to the full time level, and I feel like sometimes
Mm.
I'm at that level. But just part time. Right now, I'm doing the whole police officer thing, so I'm really just trying
Yeah,
to balance everything out and make sure that everything's in line.
yeah, and I know we've talked off air, and you actually have your paperwork. You have like you're a sole proprietor.
Yeah.
How many years have you been doing that with reselling?
So the first 6 months in 2017, it was more of just like an experiment with the whole reselling thing. Once
Yeah,
I understood more for it, about like I'd say about November, I began to do research into how to basically conduct myself as a legitimate business and what the benefits are to doing that. And so I decided, as soon as 2018 starts, I'm gonna get my sole proprietor, I'm gonna get my business license and
yeah,
all those other things you need to be more legitimate. And the reason for that was because I knew that I was going to make a lot more than 20,000. The listings were going to be really high, and
yeah,
the sales and all those things were going to be a factor. And I didn't want the IRS to be chasing me down. And I knew that there was a lot of benefits to creating a business itself. So, I
yeah.
mean, two birds with one stone, just get rid of the problem.
Yeah, man. In March, I decided to get my paperwork in order, and I got I became a sole proprietor and got my reseller's permit. So I'm very excited about that. And for me, I think for people that want to level up and go beyond the hobby of reselling for most. I think it's great, especially you got to look into the state that you're in because I know for some states to become an LLC, which I think has a lot of benefits, it's
Mm-hmm.
inexpensive. In California, it's a different story, man.
Yeah.
And so for me, I just didn't want that expense because of the amount that I'm doing. And
Yeah.
so I decided to go to sole proprietor and just kind of build on it. But I'm very excited, man, for the benefits that come with it and being a sole proprietor. And let's just see what happens with that. So what motivated you to get started into reselling, Don Hustle?
Honestly, just feeling just that basic feeling of not like having enough, like that day-to-day job that I had just wasn't enough at the
Yeah.
time, and I just wanted to figure out a way to make more money. And then I actually looked into wholesaling houses and things like that, and that wasn't working out. I saw a few videos like Gary Vaynerchuk talking about reselling and flipping shit, and
Mhm.
it sparked my interest into it. Didn't really know too much about it, and I started watching some videos. I believe it was Hustler Hacks, and just fucking gave it a shot. And I saw that I
Yeah.
was making money, and then it just took off, man.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, man. You know, I think every reseller, what we share in common is the hustle and then wanting more than what you already have, and it's interesting because this space is really dominant by men. And it's like, I think men that provide they need more, and I think for some women it's an opportunity to contribute and help the household because you can make some extra cash. And I think for some people, regardless on the gender, I mean, it's just there's something in people that want to be an entrepreneur. And I think reselling offers that. And so
It does.
it's amazing, man, just to see people start off small and then you got your big players in this game. And it's regardless on sex, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you could, like you were saying, you could be just, a hobby type of thing and just selling every now and then, or you
Yeah.
could be big scale and just take off completely. I mean, it just depends on how much work you want to put into it and the understanding you have for patience and consistency in the game. I
Hmm.
believe if you don't have either of those two things, you're not going to do very well. I mean, there's days, even weeks, where I don't find nothing at all, and then out of nowhere, just boom, 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 boom starts to
Yeah.
hit. But I think like you said, it seems like there's a lot of guys, but I know that there's a few girls that I can think of off the top of my head that really kill it.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
mean, good.
for sure, man. I think Resell Alicious, man. I
Yeah, she's the
interviewed
best.
her. Yeah. Oh, hands down, man. She's doing better than most, resellers and, most men, but she does a great job. And, for people that are not aware of her, I interviewed her last season. So check out that interview. So what platforms are you currently selling on, man?
Just eBay, StockX, and Goat, and then I do like some marketplace on Facebook. But I
Yeah.
used to be extremely heavy on eBay, but due to like all the changes and fees and things like that,
Yeah.
and just the inconvenience of tracking things, I've been switching away from that. So it's been more predominantly, especially because Goat and StockX are doing a lot of cleats, and because I put the cleats on there. For
Mhm.
everybody else that have cleats as well from the Nike, you're welcome, because I'm the reason the majority of cleats are on StockX. Just saying. But anyways, I had to put that out there because I feel like I'm undervalued. But anyways, uh, um, but anyways, yeah. So StockX and Goat are the predominant ones for me,
Yeah.
and I probably would keep it that way. I've actually tried the SneakerCon app. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but
I just heard about it.
yeah. So I've actually tried that. I have like 7, 8 listings on it, but it's kind of stalling out for me. So I probably won't even use that anymore. But yeah, just predominantly eBay, StockX, and Go, and then some marketplace here and there.
Yeah, do you feel like by you trying to go away from eBay, it's kind of hurt your sales and your business model?
I mean, there's things that I can sell on eBay that I can't sell on StockX and Go, like
Mm.
baseball bats, T-shirts, and things like
Yeah,
that. But that's still going to be on there. I mean, I'm not taking everything away completely. I'm just taking things that I know that I could value somewhere else for more, as opposed to eBay. And then
right.
I just think that's the safest way to go about doing it. I like the fact that you can send it to what's called a middleman before it actually gets to the buyer. So I think that's
Yeah.
kind of helpful in a sense. Not everybody will agree with me, but I believe so. But that's the value that I see in those two platforms as opposed to eBay.
Yeah, I was talking to another reseller this afternoon, and we were just talking about the privacy aspect that Go and StockX offer, and you really don't know who, I mean, like the person that receives it, right? The buyer doesn't know who the seller is.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's that privacy that some people really enjoy, because like on eBay or StockX, not I mean on eBay and like Posh or Macari, you can find out whose account that is and stalk the profile and see what they're
Oh
selling,
yeah.
how much they're selling, and all that stuff. So on the privacy side, I think Goat and StockX does a great job. Which one do you like the most? Like, which one's the best for you?
I think I'm really heavy on StockX. I wish
Okay.
if everybody had like the algorithms and the sales, the what they call them, the charts, the sales charts and whatnot for the
Yeah.
consistency of sales throughout the year and whatnot. If Go had that, then it'd probably be Go, but they
Hmm.
don't. So it's StockX for me. I wanted to touch back actually what you were talking about in regards to the sellers basically being incognito and the whole thing.
Yeah.
Personally, for me, I think that's cool, but it would be nice to be able to create myself like my own brand, I guess you could say, so people
Hmm.
will know more about me and myself and know that hey, I'm buying from this person, and it gives you more of an avenue for people to look into you. Um, I think that'd be something that some people would value. I don't know if you would
Yeah.
at all, but personally for myself, I think that it would be extremely valuable, especially for all the shit that I have,
Yeah.
to be able to create like my own space in that platform and be able to boost myself in a sense. That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
I think that's what, in business, man. I think, regardless, like we could talk about the big corporations, but we'll talk about the reselling platforms. eBay has been around for a while, and then they give birth to other platforms because they're lacking in certain areas. So I
Yeah.
think Poshmark does a really good job by they calling it your closet, right? And then you share it. You can do bundles. People can save your closet and they can shop through it and all that stuff. But with these other platforms like the shoes, I mean, I think StockX does a great job. They'll tell you what the stuff that you own or listed, how much it's for, how much it costs, where it's at trending in the market. But if that were to be visible, to the public, that might be beneficial for some. But me personally,
Yeah.
as a consumer, I really don't care.
Yeah.
Who I'm buying it from. I just care about like receiving the product in a timely fashion, and then in the package that they're saying that it's in. That's just me
Yeah.
though.
Yeah. And see, the business model that I'm talking about, the whole profile
Yeah.
thing, is what SneakerCon is actually doing. That's the only reason I actually tried SneakerCon, and they actually have
Yeah.
less fees than Go and StockX. I tried it, but like I said, it didn't work out. But I thought it was an attractive platform, dude, being able to create your own space within it, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and if you live in like a big metropolitan area, I think they do like Stadium Goods is one. There's
Mhm.
some like boutiques in LA. You can find them on Instagram, but there's shops out there that you can do consignment. I think there's one in Vegas, so there's different avenues. I think in the e in the sneaker world where people are buying and selling and trading. I think it's still evolving, man. Especially with the internet.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's changing every day, dude. I think who knows where we're gonna be at next year. I mean, and the
Yeah,
year following after that. Like the game of reselling continues to evolve, and I've seen that
exactly.
over almost 3 years. So it's very true.
Yeah, man. No, definitely, definitely. So, kind of take us through your sourcing schedule, if you have one, or your route. What's something that the Don Hustle does, for sourcing? What does your schedule look like?
I mean, it's not extremely special. It's just, I mean, go Monday through Friday typically to all my stores and go within the window of depending on where I'm going. Early in the morning when they open, like Nike, for example,
Yeah.
or like within the midday around lunchtime when all the freight is supposed to be pushed out. So that goes to Burlington, Ross, Marshalls. However, Marshalls, I don't think it's exactly like that because I know they actually do push merchandise in the morning and throughout the day. But it just really depends on the stores. I mean, it's about the way that I see it is people like to say like somebody's probably going to be out there and say no, I like to go at night because they push it at night. But I think it's more of just the stores that you're exposed to and the people that work there, and that's why it's important to me to develop a relationship with those people so they could tell me when things are coming in and what's going on in the store. I mean, it
Mhm.
doesn't take much. I know that some of the people that are resellers are really, what's that word I'm looking for? They're introverts, and so they don't like to talk to people at all.
Yeah, yeah,
And instead of asking for help and saying, "Hey, do you guys have anything in the back?" They just check the store real quick, and then Lord behold, 10 minutes later they push all the freight out with all the Mercurial Superfly on it, and you miss out.
right,
It's not rocket science to get it done, but
yeah.
I'm sure people would argue with me.
Oh, people would argue with you on a lot of things, man. I think that's just how the world is set up.
Yeah,
But it's good though. You don't want everybody the same. But I agree, man. I think there's resellers that it's not their number one skill set is building that relationship and the communication aspect. Some resellers they're shy, some are not. I mean, y if that was the case, I mean, I think Instagram would be different in what you see and all that. But then you have like the people that have their YouTube channel, they have sourcing because they feel comfortable. You have some people that, do what I do and then, so forth and so forth, man. But uh no, that's you hit it the nail on the head. So what's your business model look like, Don Hustle? What are you trying to accomplish when you buy an item in the
I'm,
store?
I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there that claim that they want to get 100%, if not more. And I'm gonna touch on something right now. So
Touch
I've
on
seen a
it, bro.
lot of people. I've seen a lot of people say that they're getting 100% on more, but then you look at the items they're selling, and I
Yeah.
have the item, and I'm like, there's no way you're doubling your money on this item. Like,
Right.
there ain't no way you're making 100% plus on this one item. But the model that I like to do personally for myself is just honestly, it just depends on what I know I could wait on and what I know I have to sell right now to get a decent type of return
Yeah.
back. So I guess you could say it's fair to say between 15 and whatever percent above that. I mean, if I could triple my money, I'm gonna triple my money. If I could and make it at least at minimum 15%, I'll do so. There's times where like I need like an extra $115 and I'll go to fucking Nike real quick and make $10 on per pair of whatever item, but real quick because it's obviously if you can go on StockX and go, you can make your money really fast. And so if I could get that quick cash really fast, then I'll go ahead and do that for
Mm,
$10 on $100 item that I paid for. But that's quick money. It's
mm.
$10 returned instantly. It's not. It's nothing. It's actually more than the stock market, which is a 7% return within a year. So I
Yeah.
mean, it just really depends on you and what you're looking at and what you want. But personally, for myself, it really doesn't matter as long as it's above that threshold of 15% and the timetable of what it takes to get to that point, and so on.
Yeah, man, I think it's all situational. I think, everybody values their time different. And
Yeah.
if you think about it, it's not a bad model. If you can go into a Nike store every day and make $100, I mean, 10 items.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can do that, and it's steady, It's not bad, man. It's not bad. It's kind of like, would you sell, if I said, are you willing to make $1 per item? And if I can guarantee you 100 sales a day, some people would be ecstatic about that. And some people say, that's just not worth my time. But I mean, everybody has a different situation. So you can't really knock the hustle, man.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're a low baller and you're fucking everything up for me, I mean, I'm not gonna judge you unless you're that.
So what's a low baller, man? Let's get your definition.
Honestly, the way that I see it is like, for example, especially with the cleats, man. I think about it. We're getting cleats for $65, basically for a
Yeah.
pair out the door, depending on what area you live in, 65 to $60.
Yeah.
And these cleats are worth like $275, if not $300. So what's there's no reason that you shouldn't be able to list those for at least, I know, like within $225, depending on the model and whatnot, the colorway.
Yeah.
And then you see people posting them for like $105, making like $10 on them. That to me personally gets under my skin. I mean, I get it. If you have a business model, you want to make quick cash and you can, go ahead, but it's going to be annoying to me regardless. I think you're
Yeah.
fucking wasting your time, but I mean, that's just me personally. So, I mean, that's what I define as a low baller price.
Yeah.
Strategy.
Yeah. So it bothers you that people are not willing to get they're not pricing it right, you would say.
Yeah, exactly. They're not pricing it right at all. I mean, they're just being inconsistent about the price, and I don't think that they understand what they have. Some people, I know, like I said, there's some people that
Yeah.
want the quick money. I get it, but for me personally, I just don't see the value in that unless it's the right circumstances.
Yeah, hopefully those people didn't buy too many cleats.
Yeah, like there's, I can't remember the model of it, but there's a model, the up tempos that people are buying to resell. And you can tell that they're buying it to resell it, and
Mm.
they're paying like $130 out the door for them. But they're a really nice up tempo. I'm not gonna say which one,
Mm.
but they fucking flooded so bad, man. And everybody's like, I think people are losing money because I see the bids and sales on StockX,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't look consistent to where somebody would make profit. So when I see things like that, that's just annoying as fuck. And people that are racing to the bottom of the hole, that's really annoying, man. But anyways,
Yeah, man, we could sit here all day talk about those type of
yeah.
resellers, but for the people that are watching this on YouTube and then behind us, I see a lot of silver boxes. I'm assuming those are the cleats. Nice. Look at that. We got a nice little view. So how do you manage your inventory, where it's located, things like that, man? Do you have like a process in place?
No, I mean, I'll just collect the receipts and put them in month by month or whatever month I get them per year.
Yeah.
And that's really it. I just wherever my shit fits, I do it all out of my bedroom. So wherever it fits is where it's gonna go. I don't have an organization on where things are. I just sometimes I have like around 300 listed items. Sometimes I have to dig for shit. So I mean, it just really depends. If I can remember where it is, typically I'm pretty good about that. But yeah, no source, no sense of organization at all, dude.
So don't DM the Don Hustle asking for inventory tips.
Yeah, don't do that.
So how about your shipping station? Would you say it's in the same place as your inventory?
My shipping station is a little box. It's like a fucking, it's like a 2 foot by 1 foot box full of fucking whatever the fuck, and then I have all my shipping shit right down there. So I mean, it's not fucking fancy at all.
So are you using like the Home Depot boxes, or do you
No,
buy boxes that are
no, no,
ready?
no, no. So,
The,
so, so I'm sorry. So what
yeah,
I
you cut me
buy
off.
is
It's all good.
so what I've been buying is the USPS boxes, just like anybody else.
Yeah,
And then whatever I get from like Nike, all their blank boxes, I'll keep those. And
yeah.
if I need to return an item, which I typically do, I'll just return it at the Nike store and keep the boxes. But that's it. I mean, unless I need to do something fancy, I don't purchase my boxes. I think that's a waste of money and tape too.
You're talking. You talk about the brown boxes, like so. How do you ship to Goat and StockX? Is that USPS or you UPS?
So I experimented with, so that's kind of a funky story, man. So
Yeah,
when I first started doing Goat, I started doing Goat before I started doing StockX. When I first
yeah,
started doing Goat, I didn't know if they took USPS boxes, and I didn't want to go out and spend money on the standard cardboard boxes. So
yeah.
I had my wife just like morph shit together, dude. She was like taking pieces of boxes and just putting it together and freaking taping it, and it was working, man. They were accepting
Yeah.
it and doing their thing, and then I did some reading. No, actually, I asked the UPS guy, and I was like, "Hey, man, can I just use a USPS box, like, is that okay with you guys? Is that going to be an issue? He's like, no, not at all, as long as it has a label for UPS on it.
Oh
So,
wow.
yeah, so ever since then, I've been doing that. And then I've been getting supplies off of UPS, like their sticker labels and shit like that,
Yeah.
and getting those for free and using those for my USPS and my UPS boxes. So, I mean,
Wow.
it's kind of evening out. I don't pay very much money for shipping supplies unless it's ink.
Okay. And then, so what are you doing for your tape?
The priority mail tape. You could call
Okay.
USPS. Yeah, you call
Yeah.
USPS and basically tell them, hey, I want some of your tape, and then they'll ask you some questions, and they'll send you like fucking 8 rolls of it for free.
Nice, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I talked to I remember sharing that tip when I interviewed. I did an interview, and it's true, man. You just got to give them a call and just tell them how much you need, and there it is. So that was a pro tip from the Don Hustle with shipping supplies.
Yeah, man.
Hey, so I did a Q&A. I asked the audience that you're coming on, and if they wanted to ask you some questions direct, and guess what, man? We got some.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Are you ready to answer them?
Yep, as ready as I could ever be, man.
All right, let's get this computer to pull it up. All right, man, we're gonna keep these people anonymous so you don't come after them. We know you're into firearms, so we want to protect the audience. So the first question is, what looks good for reselling in the future? What are some items that you think that are gonna be a good item to sell?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, everything could be an item to sell as long as the price is right. That's the way that I see it. So, I mean,
Yeah,
when I first started, it was like fucking cleats, then it went to golf cleats and baseball bats and
yeah,
thermometers right now, if you know what I'm talking about.
yeah,
Fucking just crazy shit. I mean, it just depends, dude. Like, it's literally like reselling in a sense, is kind of like the stock market, because things go up and down depending on the
yeah,
want, the needs, and things like that. Like right now, any type of supplies when it comes to like fucking dumbbells and shit, you could
yeah,
sell it for like 10 times what they're worth. Buy them at Walmart for $20 and freaking quadruple, if not fucking 10x your money if you really know how to do it. But I couldn't really say. I mean, just pay attention to the world and what's going on. Really, that's
yeah,
all you got to do.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's one thing that I learned with this whole coronavirus that's going on. You really just got to adapt, to the times, and there's opportunity out there. It's not just sneakers. So do the research, do the homework, and you'll be successful.
Yep.
Next question: best cleat haul, man.
Mercurial Superfly Triple Black, Mercurial Superfly 6 Elite in Triple Black.
Yeah,
So last year I got about 300 pairs. Everybody said that they were going to flood extremely bad, which they did. They're
yeah,
selling for like 65 out the door for a unit. They're selling between like 90 and 110 for like 2 months, and after that it kind of climbed a little bit. Um, I held on. I held on through that shit, and when Q4 came around, I was selling units for $275. I actually have a bunch of units out right now for I think it's like $500 just because I inflated the shit out of it. I have about 80 pairs left, so hopefully Q4 this year they'll be all gone for $500 a pop. That's the
yeah,
dream. But yeah, that's my biggest call, man. It was like 65 times what the fuck is that? Three. It was a lot of money. It was a lot of fucking money that I had to shell out to get those motherfuckers, but it worked.
Hey, that's all good, man. So,
Yeah.
what do you think about people that have the Tiger Wood, the shoes on GOAT for $40, man? Where's the profit? That was the question.
So there's no profit. I mean, you and I both know you're paying like $22, 21, 26 out the door if you're in my
Yeah,
area. But you're paying like $22 just about depending on, where you live. And then you think about it, you're like, this guy put it on for fucking $40. He's losing money. So it sounds like he's fucking desperate to get his money back, or he fucking just stole them from the store. Like, who knows?
yeah.
But
Or
I see
maybe
that as
maybe employee discount too, man.
that too, definitely. But 30%, 15%, depending on the time of the year. Anyways.
Yeah, exactly, man. So, uh, why people do it, man? I saw some made in the USA New Balances that someone sold for $40,
Oh,
brand new in the
dude.
box. Some that's cheaper than what it's going for in the
Yeah.
store. So
hmm
why people do it, I don't know, man.
It sounds like it's just desperate, man. I mean, that's all that it is.
Yeah,
But you have to think about it like this: if you see people fucking just price gouging the shit out of an item, do some research. You never know if you could actually buy that item for $40 and sell for 120 in 8 months. Like, I mean, it just depends on you.
Yeah, just depends on you and your model. So, where will these wannabe resellers die off after this virus, or will they survive to see another day?
Well, I
LOL.
mean, fuck, man. I mean, I think they've already died off. I don't see nobody posting shit. And everybody's like reminiscing on their finds from last year and
Yeah.
shit. I'm just like, get the fuck out of here with that. Like, nobody wants to see that shit. Personally, that's how I see it. But yeah, man, I've seen a lot of people selling their shit off. I know a few resellers. They're at my scale that are buying people's shit off of them because they don't want to do it anymore because it's so unstable. Which is
Yeah.
it's true. It's completely unstable if you don't know what you're doing. But yeah, I don't see this changing at all. I think it's gonna be funny when this is all over. Everybody's gonna give advice on how to survive a fucking and a pandemic and shit.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes.
Well, it's not over, man. It's
It
not
isn't.
over. You
I
know,
heard.
people don't know where the economy is going to go, man. And I'm working on a special where I'm gonna just kind of talk about it myself. But we could talk a little bit about it right now. But I think the worst is yet to come. Personally, that's my
Oh
opinion.
man, definitely. Like the way that I see it is this is gonna stretch throughout the year. I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like I don't feel like we could wake up tomorrow. They're like, all right, everything's lifted and go on with our day. I don't see that happening fast. I think that's gonna take at least about a year, if not more. I mean, I personally believe that. I've heard rumors about November being that time frame when things are gonna start to slow down because supposedly this whole virus thing's gonna subside somewhat because of the cold weather. But that's just a rumor, just like anything else. I personally think this is a conspiracy theory and the government's fucking with us because the flu kills just as much people, but
Right.
that's just me. And I mean, that's just the way that I see it. But I mean, if you have the money, you can go and buy a fucking house for an awesome APR rate. I mean, depends on you. Fine.
Yeah. What sucks, man? I bought my house. I'm in San Diego County, but I just bought
Yeah.
my house right before Thanksgiving. And it's
Okay.
like, man, what this house is going to be worth. I mean, good thing I got locked in a good APR. You know, I'm at 3.5. I'm
Oh,
cool, but it's just like, man, I think I can get a better interest rate, but I'm not going to mess with all that stuff. But I think during this time with the coronavirus, uh, people are buying stuff. Some states are still operating. I talked to, people that are not even resellers in different states, and the economy is still working and still flowing. But I was talking to one of my customers, and he brought up an interesting point. And I don't want to get into politics too much because that's not what this podcast is all about. But it just seems like every election, there's always something, right? And
yeah.
the states that are really being, hammered are sanctuary states. And so I know you talked about being a conspiracy theorist. I don't want to connect the dots too much. I just want to know a little bit. But I think the main thing is, how do we navigate through these times? It's a quote unquote pandemic, even though the flu does more damage than what this is doing. So how are you surviving, and how are you navigating through these waters of the coronavirus?
I mean, I have enough inventory. I don't
Yeah.
like some like I'd say about 10-15% of every reseller is actually has enough inventory to really last them for a long period of time. That's just my metric on it.
Yeah.
Um, but I have enough inventory. I have other streams of income as well. So I'm not drowning. I'm not in a rush. Like I told you, I'm not in a rush to just fucking fire sell all my shit. I could wait it
Mhm.
out. If that's 10 months, then I could wait 10 months. But it just depends on what's going on. Just keep an eye on the internet, see what the fuck is going on in the world, and take it day by day.
Yeah, I think for resellers that have a job and you have that income, you're in a different situation. But for the reseller that does this full time, it's definitely tricky, man. It's like you have to make sure that you have the right amount of cash flow. For the profession that I'm in, I deal with cabinet makers, and some cabinet shops, the owner owns everything in the shop, and he can shut down and walk away and not pay a dime to anybody. On the contrary, there's cabinet shops that they're leasing equipment. They're behind on payroll. They're using this job to pay for the next job. And so not all resellers are created equal where we're all in the same playing field. But if you have a job and health, you're in a good position. If you own your inventory, Don Hustle, you're in a great, position. Even if you're not selling. And we know some sales are slow and others are busy, but if you have debt on the books, that's where reselling gets interesting during these times.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion. So,
And I'll be honest, I have debt. I mean, but I know that my sales for the month are going to outweigh my debts, and
mhm.
so I mean, I don't worry too much about it. I do the. I think if you don't take advantage of credit cards, you're kind of dumb because there's a lot of benefits to it. I mean, I can't tell you the
Yeah.
last time I paid for a hotel stay. So I mean, but
Yeah.
obviously right now at this time that doesn't matter. But in the long run, it kind of does.
Yeah.
But if you have enough inventory and you know that you're going to move decent stuff for a decent amount of time,
Yeah.
and you're not too worried about your credit card payments, then just go ahead and go for it. But I wouldn't suggest doing that now because obviously there's no stores to go and buy from because everybody's
Right.
closed. But it's just like you said, yeah, the people that have a lot of credit card debt, because I know that there's a few out there that are panicking right now because they don't have enough inventory to really back up the debt that they do have, and their
Yeah.
stuff is not selling consistently due to the seasons and whatnot. But yeah, that plays a really big part. I agree with you completely.
Yeah, man. I just applied for my I got a Chase business card, and it's a zero APR for 12 months, man.
That's
So
a
I'm
good
pretty
card.
excited. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. It's coming in the mail, so we'll see what I can do with that. So we've covered a lot, man. I mean, everything, we've touched on a lot of topics. It's been great. Let's focus on the Don Hustle. What's your favorite sneaker, man? What do you like? What's your go-to shoe?
I believe it's the Nike boots, the SF8s.
Yeah.
They're fucking standard tactical. Right now, I'm loving them, man. Fucking comfy, the best boot that I could possibly wear. I used to be about like, I'll fucking wear budget shoes before I wear these fucking high end sneaker shoes. Honestly, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the fucking sneakerhead shoes, but I'm not gonna
Yeah.
put a $200 fucking pair of shoes on my feet to get fucked up. I just don't see the
Yeah.
sense in that. But I'll fucking sell a $200 pair of shoes to put some money in my pocket. But
Right.
yeah,
Are you telling us you have the triple black RBX?
yeah, that's a thought, man. That's a fucking thought. I have the triple black Skechers. Shit, I rock those motherfuckers, man. So shit. That's funny.
Awesome, man. Where
Yeah.
can people where can people find you on social media?
Honestly, just the Don Hustle, man. I mean, I have
Yeah.
other things, but nothing really associates with the Don Hustle. So the Don Hustle on Instagram. That's really it.
Cool, man. We'll put a link in the YouTube so people
Definitely.
can to follow you, and then no, that's awesome, man. So who is your favorite reseller or resellers in the game, man?
So it's gonna have to be West Coast Goods,
Hmm.
Resellicious, Pablo,
Yeah.
Relentless Resell. That's the dog right there. And of course, you
Yeah.
can't forget about Matt Klein either. I mean,
Eh,
those are my
M-
those are my people.
MCH, man, Matt Klein Hustle. No,
Yeah,
all those people that you mentioned are doing a great job. They're killing it. And I think that's important, man. I think that's how we learn. Humans learn from another human. That's how I learned how to drive. Someone else taught me to drive. You go through the whole school system. So that's amazing. And for people that don't know who they are, check them out. They do amazing things, man. The Don Hustle, want to thank you for being on the show today, man.
yeah, no problem, man. Anytime.
Any last words before we close this?
Level up, hustle hard, everybody.
Feed the beast, man.
Hell
Well,
yeah.
I want to thank the audience for tuning in. You can find today's guest at the Don Hustle, and also you can find the links to all the different platforms that this podcast and YouTube is on a reseller's journey. If you like what you're hearing, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, leave us some comments. I know the Don Hustle will answer any DMs you send them, or if you want to have a group chat or on the YouTube, man. But just appreciate everybody. Be safe out there. And remember, never forget why you started. Peace.